I'm a Viking. I'm a Viking!
Welcome back everyone, it's Ben. Recently, Universal Picture released a new teaser trailer for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon, and I watched it a couple of times and found something you might have missed. So without any further ado, let's dive in. Number 1. This might sound silly, but at the first shot of the teaser, I never really thought these dots of whites are actually birds. I'm not talking the ones flying. I'm talking about those remain static. I didn't realize it until I watched this teaser at super slow motion. Number 2. I don't know if you can tell, but this is by far the best shot we have of Stoick the Vast Haddock. This live-action version adds a sword on Stoick's gear in this particular scene, which we didn't see in the animated version. In the same shot, we can see this man right here. And I don't think this is Gobber the Belch, because if we put him side by how Gobber look in the set photos of this live action is so different, especially the beard, which Gobber doesn't have. What I think he is that he's most likely the live action version of this man, or this man who watches over the gate of Monstrous Nightmare. Number 3. We see the first look of the live action version of the deadly Natter, aka Stormfly, Astrid's dragon. What I notice about her design is somewhat inspired from a bird, with a noticed front beak and the shape of her head. Number 4. Stoick's live-action version is carrying a couple of weapons. As what we saw in the earlier clip, he's carrying a sword on his hip. However, unlike in the animated film, Stoick here is not wielding his massive warhammer, but instead a huge double-sided battle axe. Number 5. This scene shows all the different dragons. This may be the scene where Stoick cueing a catapult shot by raising his hand to disturb the cave where dragons are hiding. And I'm pretty sure about it because notice those lights behind. Those are the Vikings' vessels, and we can also see those lights in this scene behind Stoick. Also in this scene I can already see familiar faces of dragons. Front in line we have for Terrible Terror, to Gronkle, a deadly Natter, also one from behind, Monstrous Nightmare, and to Hideous Zippleback. And in the last frame we can see another Terrible Terror, a Hideous Zippleback, a deadly Natter, and another Monstrous Nightmare. Number 6. I really like about how the director preserved the most impactful detail about Hiccup's story. Because in this shot, I don't know if you could see, but the way how clear this shot is, I can see that they retain Hiccup's scar on his chin. Literally this builds up a future sequel because in the animated film, this is the basis on how Hiccup's mother recognized him as her son.
Should I know you?
No, you were only a babe. But a mother never forgets.
Number 7. Hiccup's gear. If we brighten this scene a little bit we can see Viking's weapon, an axe, a spear, and a shield. This likely be the scene where Hiccup is on his final test of becoming a Viking by killing a dragon. Number 8. This shot is absolutely beautiful. The landscape and the surrounding islands within Berk is stunning. I also love how the placement of the arena, like literally it is placed above ground, typically rare idea, but brilliant. And the village is located just under it. This might be the first day of their dragon training because we can see a few people entering the arena. And I can tell that the one leading is Gobber. Behind him are Hiccup and his friends.
Welcome to dragon training.
Number 9. We see the first look of the Monstrous Nightmare, aka Hookfang. I love the way they interpreted Hookfang's design. It adheres the overall design from animated version while fitting it in the real-world aesthetic. Now let's pay attention to the crowd. I noticed some familiar and strange figure, especially this big guy who towers among the crowd. And on the right side I think this is Stoick and Gobber. Their attire kind of resembles them from earlier clips. Beside them, I don't really know who he is, but his massive beard got my attention. Maybe this guy is the live-action counterpart of this guy, with a massive beard. Another thing, notice how all the crowd wearing their Viking helmet. However, I spot someone who forgot to wear one. And I'm kind of skeptical to think that this is Astrid, Because in the animated film, Astrid was behind Hiccup when he entered the arena. But it could also be Astrid, considering that this lady resembles brown to black hair color and it also looks like curly, given its wavy side. Number 10. This showcased the very first look of Red Death, but just part of his head. What I can say is, from this angle, he looks like a giant T-Rex that breathes fire or kaiju that breathes fire. It kinda reminds me of Zilla from the 1997 Hollywood version of Godzilla. I'm just amazed how Red Death interpreted in the live action, especially its tremendous amount of teeth. In the next we see this Viking diving into the water. I noticed that the horns of his helmet wiggles. Maybe their helmet props, especially the horns, aren't made to be hard so no one in the set get pricked and harmed. And wiggling horns might be an overlooked from editing. Number 11. This scene for me is absolutely giving me a Spartan vibe with this foggy atmosphere and a yellowish tint. It is indeed a beautiful touch. Then we get another shot of the man with a massive beard that we see earlier. Number 12. Do you remember this scene in the animated version? This is the scene where Toothless takes Hiccup and Astrid to the nest where the Red Death is hiding. In this scene I can already see Toothless here prominently because of his prosthetic tail fin and his flying out along with the other dragons. But what I notice here is, there's only one person riding on the back of Toothless. Surely it's Hiccup, but where's Astrid? Supposedly in this scene, the two of them are riding Toothless.
Alright, bud, we gotta get out of here.
Number 13. I'll assume that this scene is the scene where Hiccup is giving Toothless a fish, and Toothless wanting more, so he comes toward Hiccup. A proof that this is not a shot-for-shot remake, we can see a shield lying on the ground. Whereas in the animated film, when Hiccup arrives to give Toothless a fish, as he enters, the shield stuck in between rocks. So, there's no way the shield could be seen on the ground. And lastly, a reference to the animated film. This scene I think might be the scene after when Hiccup swallowed the half of the fish given by Toothless. So that's it. Those are my observations about the recent teaser trailer of the live-action How to Train Your Dragon. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these points, and if there's anything I missed, feel free to share it in the comments. That'll be all for today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.